The family I nanny for made me memorize 3 different escape routes from the house, and I needed all of them when their neighbors broke in. The Castellano family hired me, and Miriam spent the first 3 hours teaching me how to leave the house if something went wrong. Not normal emergency procedures like fire drills or tornado shelters. Actual escape routes that involved climbing out second-floor windows, sliding down the garage roof, and cutting through the hedge line into the nature preserve behind their property. She walked me through each route twice, timing me with a stopwatch, correcting my footing when I hesitated at the window ledge. Her 2 kids, 8-year-old Finn and 5-year-old Kara, watched from the hallway with expressions that said they'd done this drill 100 times before. Miriam's husband Derek stood in the driveway with his arms crossed, nodding approval when I made it down the trellis without breaking my ankle. He told me the routes weren't paranoia, they were preparation, and that working for them meant taking security seriously. I needed the job badly enough that I didn't ask too many questions. My student loans were crushing me, and the Castellanos paid twice what other families offered, plus full benefits and a housing stipend since I'd be living in their guest house 4 days a week. The estate was massive, sitting on 5 acres in an affluent suburb where every house had gates and cameras and that sterile perfection that screamed old money. The neighbors on the left were the Whitakers, a retired couple who traveled constantly and kept to themselves. The neighbors on the right were the Langs, a family of 4 who'd moved in 6 months earlier. Miriam mentioned the Langs exactly once during my first week, saying I should keep the kids away from their property line and never accept invitations to come over, no matter how friendly Mrs. Lang seemed. When I asked why, Miriam's face went tight and she said some people weren't what they appeared to be, then changed the subject to Kara's peanut allergy. The security measures extended beyond escape routes. Every door had 3 locks, every window had sensors, and cameras covered every angle of the property except inside the bathrooms and bedrooms. Derek checked the footage every night before bed, scanning through hours of nothing happening. The kids weren't allowed to play in the front yard, only the fenced backyard where cameras could monitor them. They couldn't answer the door or the phone. They knew their parents' cell numbers by heart and had been trained to call 911 if they heard breaking glass or saw anyone on the property who wasn't supposed to be there. Finn told me matter-of-factly that his parents had enemies, people who wanted to hurt them because of something that happened before he was born. He said it the same way other kids talked about their parents' boring office jobs. I'd been working there for 3 weeks when I met Leonard Lang for the first time. I was helping Kara practice her letters in the backyard when a soccer ball came flying over the fence and landed near the swing set. A man appeared at the fence line seconds later, tall and athletic with an easy smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He called out an apology for the ball and introduced himself as Leonard from next door. He said his kids were always kicking balls over here and offered to come grab it if that was okay. I remembered Miriam's warning about staying away from the Langs and told him I'd throw it back over. Leonard's smile faltered just slightly before returning brighter. He thanked me and mentioned that his wife had tried inviting Miriam over for coffee a few times, but never got a response. Joked that maybe the Castellanos were too fancy for neighborhood friendships. I tossed the ball over without responding and steered Kara back toward the house, feeling Leonard's eyes on my back the entire walk. That night, I mentioned the encounter to Miriam, and her reaction was immediate. She wanted to know exactly what Leonard said, how close he got to the fence, whether he tried to talk to Kara. When I described the interaction, she closed her eyes and took a slow breath, then told me something I wasn't expecting. Full story is linked below or on my channel.